Jesus may come at a time where you have lost your way. And there's nobody there to comfort you. Your best friend that answers the phone 24/7 all of a sudden is not available.
Yes.
And it comes at a time of hardship and regret and negativity and thought and self-pity and doubt and depression. And you realize that you love the Lord.
Yes.
And like, wait a minute, all those things come to you and you're like, Lord, I've been through this and I've been through that. And then you realize that you look back and you say, wait a minute. It was you that took me from this point to this point to this point. I love you. I can trust you. I can trust you because I don't trust everybody else. I'm uncomfortable about situations that you're trying to grow me and I didn't know you were.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Mm-hmm. Let's get to the text. Hallelujah. So, my God, he's an awesome God. He's an awesome God. Amen? He's an awesome God. I know I'm not the only one here that knows that God will make something out of nothing. Amen? He's an awesome God. Hallelujah. I don't mind telling you. Hallelujah. So we're going to talk today about this. If you don't know the story, I'm going to narrate it and then we're going to highlight some verses, okay? All right. We're on the same level. Ain't no podium up here. Ain't no higher level up here. We're on the same level. So I want to come talk to you face to face.
All right.
And so the story it starts actually back in chapter 10, right? Where we're talking about the city of Judea. And Jesus and the disciples are in the city of Judea, and they're talking to the Jews, right? The letter livers of the Lord, of the law of God, and he's talking to the Jews, and he says something to them. He says that, and he's talking about his father, and he's his father's son, and then they get mad, and he says that my father's son. He said, well, you're trying to say that you're the same as God, and you are God. And so he you know how Jesus does, he spits their own verses back to them and shuts them up, right? So they get mad at this particular situation and they start to pick up stones. They're picking up rocks. This is in chapter 10. And then they begin to want to stone Jesus. Right? Because he's saying that he's God's son, which makes him equal with the Father. Right? And they can't receive that. So the title, sorry, I skipped ahead. The title of this message is going to be In Possession, but Out of Position. So I'm in possession, but I'm out of position. So they want to stone him, right? The whole nine. And so Jesus gets away. He's not stoned. He gets away, goes back. And so that brings us to the verses today where we're talking about the death of Lazarus. And so he's talking with the Martha, or Mary and Martha, or two of the sisters of Lazarus. And so they send word to Jesus and they say, Jesus, come. Lazarus is sick. Not dead. He's sick. I need you to come. They want Jesus to come to them. Oh my God. Some of us are just like that today. We only want Jesus to come to us. And it's a one-way relationship. We want Jesus to come to us, and we wonder why there's no reciprocation sometimes. Why we just stand alone, because we want Jesus to come to us. We want him to do everything like Santa Claus. We want him to provide everything like Santa Claus. We don't want to have accountability in the relationship. Oh my God, in or out, it's okay. Come on. They sent word for Jesus to come, and Jesus, no, he doesn't come. He doesn't answer. He doesn't come. And so a lot of us will get upset when your friend, your best friend, the one that you have claimed to be your all and all, your buddy, your boo, they don't come. You get upset. Right? You start to formulate all these other opinions. You start, wait a minute, maybe you ain't who you say you are. Can I be real with you this morning? But maybe you aren't who you say you are. Maybe I really can't trust you. Maybe you're no different than I am. And the limitations of who you are is the same limitation of who I am. And I tell you today that is true. Jesus in your life is the same limitations of who you believe he is in your life. You hear me? He is all powerful. But until you receive that and believe that and walk in that, he is limited. He is limited. He is limited to your understanding what you believe about God. That's why I said earlier, every now and then I have to instead of him reminding me of what he's done for me, I remind him of what he's done. I remind him, God, you were the one that saved me from that accident. You were the one that saved me, Lord God, when I lost everything. When they were carrying stuff out of my house, Lord God, in moving trucks, and I didn't know where I was going. It was you, Lord God, that gave me a destination. I remind him of what he has done. I remind him of what he has done. Hallelujah. So we go forth and so they send the word and Jesus says no. And he's talking to Thomas and Thomas says, wait a minute. He says, Lazarus is sleeping. He tells tells us to the disciples. And Lazarus has already died and passed on. But Jesus is so amazing because he knows the before and the after and the alpha and the omega. He's written our life from the end to the beginning. So he said, my father already told me he ain't dead. He's sleeping. And so our naive disciples, they say, well, if he's sleeping, he's going to get better. He's going to feel better. Why we got to go there if he's sleeping? Jesus eventually tells him that Lazarus is dead, and we're going back to Judea. So the reason why I bring this importance to it, because in Judea is where they wanted to stone him. Think about it. Sometimes you got to go back to the places where they talked about you. Sometimes you got to go back to the people, the same people that tried to crucify you and stone you and still be who you are. So Jesus he said, look, he says, we're going back. And Thomas is in possession of Jesus. He's there with him. The disciples are in possession of Jesus, but out of position to know who he is. Because Thomas says to him, he says, they tried to stone you there. We're going to go back to where they tried to stone you. And he says to the rest of the disciples, not to Jesus, he says to the rest of the disciples, he says, okay, let us go with him, that we may die with him. I want you to process that for me.
Wow. Yeah.
In possession, but out of position. So I'm going to serve and praise and honor a God that I believe is going to die because they just tried to stone him. Because somebody just talked about it. Somebody trying to tell you something different about your God.
Yeah.
Somebody trying to give you a different opinion about your God, and all of a sudden you are afraid. You better get rooted, people. Get rooted in that word. You only can get rooted by spending time with God. You only can get rooted by spending time with God. Hallelujah. So we go forth, and he says, okay, we're in possession of Jesus. And in the process of being in possession of Jesus, but out of position, when you have to wait on God, you come to certain tests. You come to certain tests when you have to wait on God. And I'm trying to tell you today, I'm trying to make you identify with what these tests are so you won't get turned off when the tests come. What happens is we think that because we want something from God, that it's going to be ushered into us and delivered to us like an Amazon package on our front step. We ordered it, it should be here. We're looking at our watches and our phones to see what time it's going to be here. We get a signal it should be dropped off. I go outside with expectation that it's there. But it's not with God. It doesn't work like that with God. Sometimes you're going to ask him for something and it's not going to be on the front step. Sometimes it's not going to even be at your house. Sometimes you're going to have to go to that person that talked about you, that doubted you, that disbelieved in you, and say, you know what? I love the Lord. And because of the fact that I love the Lord, I'm going to be who God made me to be. So if you hate on me, I'm going to love on you. I know that's the hard part. But if you hate on me, I'm going to love on you. And see, because it's not about them. You make it about them when you react the same way that they react to you. Let me say that again. You make it about them when you react to them the same way they react to you. But it's about who made you. Whose are you? I am in possession of the Holy Ghost, and I am in position to administer it. Right? In possession, out of position. So with this process, he said, waiting on God, and also will challenge your motives. When you wait on God, it will challenge your motives, because if you don't see any fruit from the tree that you planted for the fruit, you eventually grow weary of the increase. You eventually go weary of the increase. So they say, okay, wait, I planted it, I did what I was supposed to do. I put the resumes out there. I got on LinkedIn, I got on Indeed, I got on all these job searches, and it's been a year, Lord. And I ain't seen nothing, no callback. I got a couple phone interviews, but no fruit from that. What's going on? Should I do something else? Should I do something different? Should I trust you? Should I continue? Everybody around me is telling me they just tried to stone you. Why are you going back to that place where they tried to stone you? So I'm getting all this doubt from my friends. I'm getting all this doubt from the people that are supposed to be pouring into me because I'm not seeking godly counsel. Right? The Bible says faith comes by hearing the word of God. So how am I going to go get faith for somebody that don't even open up the Bible? How am I going to get led to the Spirit by somebody that doesn't even walk in the Spirit? The most important lesson that we see in this situation is they're walking by sight. By faith, you can't see. You hope it's there. Faith ain't got nothing to do with what you experienced. Faith has nothing to do with what you experience. And sometimes we get caught up on what God has done so that we don't understand what God is capable to do. We get so caught up on the blessings of yesterday that, you'll never be a millionaire. Nobody in our family's ever been a millionaire. You'll never go to college. Nobody in our family's ever gone to college. You'll never get past this. Everybody in the family had cancer. You're going to probably have it too. The devil is a liar. To destroy your faith, your hope, your belief about God. Who are you letting make deposits in your life? Who are you letting make deposits in your spirit? Whose faith are you walking by? See, the Bible says the faith comes by the hearing of the word of God. But guess what? Faith also comes by hearing the wrong words too. You can have faith in the wrong stuff. You can have faith in the wrong stuff. Some men trust in chariots. Some men trust in horses. Hallelujah. Think about that. Think about that. I got the car. It's going to start. It's brand new. It's close to new. I put oil and gas in it, and it's supposed to run. But it doesn't work that day. But I've done everything physically by sight that I'm supposed to do. I know that I can't wake up and come to this place this morning, God, that speak a word of health and life over my life. Some of y'all got next week planned out. Let me say that again. I can't. I've learned. And I used to be an athletic dude, and I'm still good at life. but I know, honestly, I'm 41 years old, but I used to jump up. And now I get up. Because life takes you through these changes. Life takes you through these changes. And if you don't, and I learned this in the last couple of years, life is full of seasons. And you can hear it, but not really understand. Because we get the job to think that we've got the plan. We do the work and we think that because we do the work, somebody's going to reward us, right? Because we're looking for affirmation from man. We're looking for affirmation in paychecks. And we don't understand that we're created with a purpose. So when God changes your season, regardless if you're ready for it, you're already in the next season. You're already in the next season. But the problem is this. Hallelujah. I know what the text says, but the Holy Spirit, you have your way. The problem is this. Farmers farm for two things, not just the crop. They have to harvest the crop and the seed. Because the crop is for the current season, but the seed is for the seasons to come. The problem is when you get in a hurry to get what's in front of you, to get this for now, you miss what God is preparing for you for the future. Sometimes you've been stuck waiting on something because God's preparing you to receive future ability. He's preparing you. He said, I don't know why this took so long. This person got their blessing so quick and it already changed and it went through 3 or 4 degrees and I'm still waiting and working on one. I'm preparing you for something else. Every last one of you are different. There's numbers of your hairs on your head that God knows individually. I'm trying to make you understand something, that you are not like you, and you are not like you, and you are not like you. There's differences. Until we start to appreciate and respect those differences, we'll never get the fullness of what God has for us. He has made us all with a purpose. So,
He has.
So now that we're talking about, they sent word to Jesus to come because Lazarus is sick, and now Lazarus has died. And so Jesus is telling the doubting disciples, Thomas, who's Didymus, and he's always the doubtful one. And so now he's telling them that we're about to go to Judea. We're going back to the place where they tried to stone me. We're going back to the place where they talked about me. We're going back to the place where they didn't believe in me. And so Didymus, or Thomas, says this. He says, let us all go so that we may die with him. Do you got those people in your camp that they mean well, but they always say negative stuff? They're always putting your limitations at the level of their own. You weren't able to do it. We never seen it before, so it can't be done. Because they put their trust in men and themselves and not in God. They mean well, and we ought to pray for them as well. But when you allow somebody who's popular or somebody has already been a leader in your life to lead you down unfruitful paths, who are you following?
All right. Yeah.
You need to check yourself every now and then. I'm just saying, every now and then you need to check. Who are you listening to? Who are you so quick to hear what they're saying and do what they say?
Right. Yes.
I just want that to sit. I just want that to sit. Because we do it with Google. we do it with friends that have been experienced and have done some things, and they have seen some blessings and some fruitfulness out of their abilities. But how many of you know that one day your abilities ain't going to move you nowhere? Amen. Your money ain't going to move you nowhere. I mean, one day your own physical abilities won't be able to move you. One day. Oh, we take it for granted because we think we have youth and time. If a person is called to live 30 years, at 15 they live half their life. We take that for granted. If they're called to live 30 years and they're 29, they're almost at the end of their lives. But all you hear is, I'm young, I got time. We were there. I'm not being critical, but I'll identify with you. I'm accountable. I was there. I got time. But seasons change. And you know what? You were put here for a purpose. So in the process of the season changing, you must understand that if God's called me to be sick at a young age, then it is for his purpose that is going to accomplish something. I'm not in charge. I'm not in charge. You're not in charge. And so as we go back to the text, now we're talking about him. He's going on his way to Judea. He's there in Judea, and he's coming towards the place of where Martha and Mary are. So they found out that Jesus is almost there. So Mary runs out. Okay, Mary's the more vocal one. You know, the two sisters, the more vocal. I'm sorry, Martha's the more vocal one, and Mary is more reserved. She's kind of laid back, and so she didn't come out first, but Martha comes to meet Jesus, and she says, as we said in the text, she says, "But if you hadn't been here, my brother would not have died." Too many people think that if we're just connected, or if the Bible's just in the room, or if we just go to church on Sunday, if we just go to Bible study every now and then, that because when we come to the closeness of his presence, that things ain't gonna happen to you. Newsflash. Okay, as you guys say, let me give you a like or give you an alert or something. Let me give you a tweet. Because of God's presence is in your life, the more profound things that are like that are going to happen to you. The more trouble is going to come your way. Because I didn't make you to be a punk Christian. I didn't make you to be somebody that can't stand. Because somebody said it, you said it earlier in your prayer. He says, when the enemy comes and flows in like a flood, but he raises up a standard against you. So that went like that. I mean, look, a standard. What things are you consistent with that God has given you? What things that are you consistent with? I don't want to say anything to perplex you. I want you to think, and I want you to go back and do an inventory of your life. What things are you consistent with that God has given you that will fight off some of these demons that you constantly go into cycles and dealing with all the time? He doesn't bring anything new to you. I get to start, guys.
Come on.
What are these things that he's bringing to you that's the same old stuff all the time, same old stuff, because you have not transitioned to the season. The season has changed, but you have not transitioned to the season.
Come on.
So we're going to be tested. We're going to go through some things. We're going to go through some situations where our perspective is going to change. And our perspective is going to be jaded. Our perspective is going to be messed up. So Martha said, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. So she's focusing on the death of her brother, and Jesus doesn't acknowledge it at all. Did you catch that? He didn't acknowledge the problem at all. Sometimes we spend too much time dealing with the problem and not the answer, or not the solution, not the one who can take care of the problem. We're so focused on what the enemy is able to do or has presented to us on ABC.com and CNN that we forget the presence of God. Where sin abounds, grace abounds much more. What about the presence of God? What about the presence of God? What about the presence of God? We're so focused on what the enemy is doing. I lost
Yes.
I'm losing my house, and I'm being real. I get it. I don't know where this payment's gonna come from. I done borrowed out. Either my pride or my ability to borrow. It's gone. It's done. I have nobody else I can go to. The banks won't even. I come to the door. They might call the law. I done filed bankruptcy already. Get ready to file another one. I get it. I'm identifying with you. I'm identifying with you. You don't have to say, man, that's okay. It wasn't really directly towards you. I just want you to know I understand where you are mentally. Because by sight, all those things look really pressing. By sight, see, because it's easy for somebody to sit up here and say, oh, you should do this and you should do that. But Jesus was not that type of preacher. He was not that type of man. He identified with the people. He touched the people. He touched them. He understood their problems, their issues. So he goes to Martha. He says, Martha, I'm not even dealing with the fact that you think he's dead. I'm the gate. I am the resurrection and the life. He can't die unless I say he did. You understand that? So he doesn't even identify with the problem that you and I see by sight. Thank you, Holy Spirit. He does not identify that we expound and we expand upon the problems, and we got the girlfriend and the homies that will hear us out. Right? Let us vent. And we constantly recite. We the same ones that we telling that God gonna make it for you, girl. He gonna do it for you, girl. He gonna hook you up, homie. He gonna bless you. But at the same time, when something hits your front door, when the problem hits your front door, what are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to others? Because before you know it, maybe you don't believe what you follow. Maybe you don't believe what you have shared with somebody else. My brother would not have died if you hadn't been here. Too many times we're trying to make Jesus come to us when we know he says very clearly in the word that we can come to him at any time. He stands at the door and knock. All we have to do is let him in. All we have to do is surrender to him. I can call Jesus no matter where I am. I am not afraid. I am not ashamed of the gospel. He is my God. He is my God. And when you make him your God, the enemy or the doctor can give you a bad diagnosis and bad news, and the supervisor can give you bad information, but you know how to go into that closet. You know how to go in there, that's still in the moment and say, Lord, if you don't do it, I don't know how it's going to get done. Lord, if you don't touch me and if you don't change this, Lord God, I won't understand how to move forward. Give me, Lord God, that understanding. That's when it comes to, that's when the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. That's what that's talking about. He says that no matter what's going on, seek ye first in the kingdom of his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. All these things. So my point is that if I seek the Lord first, and I seek his kingdom, and I seek his righteousness, I don't have to worry about the stuff that I think I'm losing. I don't have to worry about the death of my brother. I don't have to worry, because it's when I lean to my own understanding, I'm only going to see what my mind projects. I'm only going to see what my mind understands. That's what the Bible says, renew your mind. If you only renew your mind with what you understand, you're only recycling your own faults. If you only renew your mind with what you understand, you're only recycling your own faults. So that's why if you don't get in the Word, you're not receiving anything to cleanse what you understand, to break those messed up chains, to break those bondages, those generational bondages and things of that nature. If you don't get in the Word, you don't have a relationship. And say, let me tell you something about God. He's so amazing. I can't give it to you, but I can share what I'm going through with him. You get in the Word, and all of a sudden he starts pouring more of the Word into you.
Yes.
Amen. And you're like, I don't remember studying that. I don't even remember reading that. The David said it. He said that I have hidden that word in my heart that I may not sin against thee. Right? You need to start knitting those powerful scriptures together. You need to start knitting those powerful scriptures together, because when you start doing this, wait a minute, I'm starting to see the ways of my God. I'm starting to see the ways of my God. Stop coming to church just because it's something to check the box with. Shut it down. Shut it down. I'm just going to say that ain't it. I ain't about that life. I'm being real with you. Stop all this routine worship and routine. I need him every day. I need him every day. Do you need him every day? Do you need him? Am I by myself? I need him every day. Every day. And so as we go forth, and so now Martha comes and she pleads her case, and now here comes Mary with the same thing. Mary's pleading her case. And Mary says, no, if you hadn't been here, routine, right?
Uh-huh.
I can't blame her, right? Because when we have loved ones in trouble that we can't do anything about, all we can call on is God.
Yeah,
And
that's
she did.
it.
She
Uh-huh.
did. Martha and Mary, they prayed.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't say in the text, but they prayed.
Uh-huh.
They said, "Look, Jesus, come, Jesus, come. Let me say, for I know a man that can save my brother." That's faith in itself.
Yeah.
I know even Martha says, he says, I know that he'll give you anything that you ask for.
Yeah.
I know that's faith in itself. But to believe it is to walk in it.
Yes. Yes, sir.
To believe in it is to walk in it. See, the reward is in the work.
Uh-huh.
Let me give you this. When football, or anybody's ever been athletes in here, there's a workout process. There's a preparation before the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a preparation before the actual event that you're working for. So the Sundays and the Bible studies and the time with God is preparation for the trouble that you're going to encounter.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yeah.
If you don't take anything with you in the workout,
Yeah. Very true. All right.
when the work comes,
Yeah.
you won't be prepared.
That's right. That's right.
My man lifts weight right there. You lift weight. I like that. Okay, so check it out. I'm gonna check you. I'm gonna use you. How much you bench? Tell me how much you bench. Okay. Say okay. You woke up like that. Like that. So my point is, if you bench 220, right, you'll never get any stronger till you lift that 220.
Right.
But when you lift 225, you start to stretch yourself.
Yeah.
You stretch your muscles,
Yes.
and you get stronger. So my point is, if you only do what you can, you'll never get any stronger. If you only do what you've been doing, you'll never change anything.
That's right.
But when you start to step out and stretch out, to trust God for what you have not been able to do, then that's when you become His child, and that's when you become the knitted with God. And that's when you become to the point where, you know what, it's not by my might, it's not by power, but it's by His Spirit I can do this. By His Spirit I can do this, because right now you give up on your own strengths.
Yes.
You give up on your own limitation. You give up on what you've been able to do or not been able to do.
Right.
But God said, no, trust in me. I am the light.
Yes.
I am the resurrection. I know who comes to the Father. Nobody comes unto the Father but by me. So the papers are up. How many of you know that your papers have been up before the Lord? How many of you know that the devil has put your papers up before the Lord so many times? And God keeps saying, access denied, access denied, request denied, request denied. How many times? I don't know about you, but I know how many times. I know that there's been times where my papers have been up. I have no business to be here by sight, physically, alive. But God said, access denied. You can't take his life. I have purpose for him. I have purpose for him. God has purpose for you. And so, verse 38. We're going to go back to verse 38. So now Jesus is there. He's there with her, and he sees all the people in their hearts and how bad they feel. And he started to understand, like, okay, wow, they really feel pain. But he knew that if he had came, it would have messed up what God had intended for him. Right? Sometimes you rush things, and then you realize later, wait a minute, I shouldn't have did that because I would have received this if I had waited. Is that just me? Okay.
No.
Bullet point. So no to Terrell. That's just you. Okay. So sometimes you rush stuff and you don't receive the fullness of the blessing, right? You know, one of those moments where you ask for a certain number for a salary, and they come back to you and say, okay, we'll give you that, and you go back and say, man, I should ask for more. That ain't y'all. Y'all satisfied with gratitude. I get it. But I'm saying, when you don't wait on God, when you don't wait on him, you rush the situation, you'll get a blessing, but it's going to be by your mind and by your power. And so the blessing about this is like when you plant something, you plant a seed into the ground, and nothing happens. You water and you have an expectation, but nothing happens, right? And they tell you it's supposed to be 10 days before you see a sprout, something. Green, something's going to come up, right? And you got weeds growing faster than you got the plant growing, right? And so you got to fight off all these weeds or whatever, but you don't see no fruit. Nothing. The plant does not come up. And he says, the Bible says that one man planted, one man planted, another man watered, but it is God that gives the increase. So many people are trying to get increases without God in the mix of the process. That's not y'all. So,
Come on.
I'm sharing something with y'all, but that's not y'all. I get it. You can't identify with that. I get that. So we want the increase, but we don't include God in the process, right? And so the last few scriptures, I want to take you to this process of 38, verses 38 through 40. And it says, Jesus once more deeply moved and come to the tomb, and it was the cave, and with the stone laid across the entrance. He says, take away the stone. And I came to that verse in my studies, and I said, Lord, that's amazing, that's powerful. Give me something to give to the people. And he says, what stones do you need to roll away for Jesus to give you a new life? Jesus said, take away the stone so that he could call Lazarus back to life. So that he could call Lazarus back up. So what's the process? There's a stone in the way. And then after the stone, after he sees the stone, what does Martha say? He'd been dead for 4 days. This dude stank. He out there. Jesus, hold on, Jesus, hold on. You got maggots and bugs and flies, everything about to come out of this. Wait a minute. He stink. Do you really want us to take this stone away? And that's the devil. The devil wants to tell you that you are messed up. Your mama was messed up. Your daddy never took care of his kids. Your daddy's daddy never took care of their kids. They never was enough. Your father was in jail. Your father quit his job, wouldn't take care of his family. All these generational curses. That's the excuses that is happening right now. And Martha's saying he stinks. So all those smells and all those things that she said is the excuses. Could those excuses be tied to the stones that they were trying to throw at Jesus in Judea before he came back? Could this stone that he says, move away this stone, be tied to the same stones, they're the excuses that we throw at Jesus? Jesus, I can't. He says, the Bible says the promises of God are yea and amen. Let me help you with something on that. When God gives you a vision that he doesn't give your neighbor or your sister or your husband or your wife, you better say yea and amen. Because if I base it on what they believe, I'll never receive it. The promises of God are yea and amen. And so immediately he's telling her, says, look, do you believe? Did I not tell you not to believe and you will see the glory of God? And she's saying all these excuses not to receive the blessing that Jesus is there in the, she's in possession of Jesus, but not in position to see what he's able to do. And so he gets to the point where he says, okay, he said, did you not believe? Did I tell you not to believe? He said, you will see the glory of God. And he moves the stone and he calls Lazarus back to life. He calls Lazarus back to life, right? And so where I'm going to close at on this is that we need to be in position and not just in the possession of God, but we need to be in the position to honor God and to give him the glory that he deserves. Because see, it's not about really you electing to give God the glory. I'm sorry, I know you're cute, you look good and all that stuff. You think you're smart, and I think I'm smart sometimes, but it is not about me or my electiveness to achieve and to receive what God gives me direction. You have a purpose. You have a purpose, and there is a customized plan for every last one of your lives. You go on all these self-help things and say that anybody can do this, and you can do this too, and you can have $1 million in a couple weeks. You can go and follow those things. That's fine, but there's no fruit from that. Because God says that to be tied to me, you have to suffer. If you want to see promotion with me, there's some suffering involved. If you want to see the glory of God, if the glory of God, you really want to see it and you really want to identify with Jesus, you're going to have to get nailed to some things that you don't want to be attached to. See, the problem is that we're so stuck on trying to identify our own customized plans that we don't realize that everything that we go through is for the glory of God. Everything that we go through is for the glory of God. And so we get stuck on what we don't see by sight. And we say, it's not going to happen for me. Or I want to do this and I want to do that. But you have a plan. The Bible says many are the plans of the heart and in the hearts of man. But God has the last word. He really is the one that signs off on the plan. This is really what it is. I know the dreams and hopes and goals that I gave you. Notice that. It's amazing, right? I gave you dreams and hopes and goals and things, but this is why I gave them to you. You have a purpose, and we get so stuck. He doesn't give you a seat at the table just to sit down. He gives you a seat at the table to be able to influence others to win to get up. To win to get up. So if I get the position at the head of the table, it is my position to go back and honor and reverence God and say, wait a minute, now it's time to get up and do something. something for the Lord.
Yeah.
Now it's time for us to get up and do something for the Lord. But sometimes we're so stuck on getting the position, the possession, that we're out of position to see the purpose.
That's it. Yes.
A lot of peace.
Yes. Come on.
God, I thank you for this opportunity to speak a word before the people. And what I really want you to understand is that the whole process of Mary and Martha is real. And I think that's when we mess up. We identify with the spiritual piece of it, and we identify with the biblical piece of it, but it's real. There are times where we don't feel like we're getting the full reciprocate from God, what we put in. Right? There's times where we feel that we went to church and we prayed for this and we prayed for that one, but then the trouble comes to our doorstep.
Yes,
And we
yes.
don't feel that the support is there. And so your best friends and the ministers are too busy sometimes when you go to the church to pray with you, and I don't understand that. But there's people that won't pray with you, and God's put a community of people. Well, He's put you in a place to seek Him.
Yes.
He puts you in a place to seek Him. And sometimes we get to a point where we're like, okay, now I understand. But you don't receive that when you're in the problem. You don't receive that in the trouble, right? But see, what you gotta understand, what you gotta connect to, and I want you to really take this with you, is that all of those things that He's brought you through, He's been consistent and faithful. He's been consistent and faithful. He's put you in possession of some things that you did not deserve.
Amen.
And that was in the process of putting you in possession of those things so you could be in the position to serve.
Yes, sir.
In possession, out of position. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Amen. Thank you, Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Well, I can say that I know that I've been out of position for a minute. But that's a good word for this morning.
Amen.
I'm trying to figure out how to work this thing. And hit the button and say, it's time to give.
Praise the Lord.